Earlier today, the Big Ten announced that the Iowa game on October 3rd will start at 11 a.m. This week, the Badgers play their final non-conference game of the season on Saturday, hosting Hawaii at 7 p.m. at Camp Randall in a game televised by BTN. Head coach Paul Chryst is here. We'll have some opening comments, then take questions.
Well, I thought there were some positives that came out of the game. It's fun when you play in the season and tell the kids and told them after the game and truly believe you've got to appreciate those games where you win. And what's fun is each game's different, and it takes a different you win different ways. And I thought that we were able to do that, and I liked the way the guys prepared all last week and played, and we were tested in different ways, and guys showed resolve. I thought defensively, it took us a little bit of time to adjust to the rhythm of our opponent, and yet they had to communicate and they kind of had to work through it, and that's good. And so you can kind of find some areas where you improve. It looks different than what might seem on the outside. I thought the same thing offensively. I thought we ran the ball a little bit more consistently. I thought the backs, I thought Dari and Taiwan were a little bit more patient. And yet there's a lot of areas I think we can get better at, and that also is, I like that as a coach. And our kids, the thing I appreciate from our kids is that they know it and they see it and they want to get better. And so looking forward to this week. I think we're playing a talented, physical team in Hawaii, and so this will be a good week for us.
Paul, after the game when you were asked about the two targeting calls, you talked about the belief that you teach your guys to play physical but safe, and you're curious to maybe hear back from the league, I think you were talking about. If you've had time to review it, were the guys executing the techniques that they've been taught, and what do you think of the two calls at this point?
We had a good chance, and I think there is a good process in place, for as far as us as coaches, and spoke with the Big Ten office and Bill, and went through it. And I think the thing I like about talking with Bill is that he knows. I think he respects the game a ton, and certainly sees it from how do we best officiate it. And like I said before, there's no one in coaching, no one playing that isn't in favor of player safety. And as you alluded to, that we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to help our guys play it the right way. And we take pride and have for a long time here at Wisconsin, being physical and playing the game the right way and coaching it. And I think that, the instincts of our guys, that's why I think it's so important to practice and go with it. And we always talk about seeing what you're hitting and keeping your head up. And yet I think there is, football's such a reactionary game. And so I had a good chance to talk with Bill, see what they're saying, and say, Bill, well, where do you think we're at on this? And I think with Leon's, it's just making sure that his head is truly up, and we've been spending a lot of time on working on getting it to the side. It's easier said than done when it's a split-second decision. And so, we're going to communicate. We always do with our players. This is what's being officiated. Targeting is getting more talked about for us, but we talk about it when it's not us and other penalties, and we want to be, we want to be a team that doesn't hurt itself. I thought that's one area we can get better. We had some defensively, we had some false, I think Vince had one, Sitch had one, I think Chikwe had one, offensively, those controllable penalties, we call them. And then there's some that happen in the course of the game that, that are come out of being aggressive. And I think that there's no question in my mind that both Leon and Derek were trying to play the game the right way, and that you appreciate. You know, guys weren't trying to take a shot and be cheap.
Jay?
So with all of that said, after having 2 guys ejected Saturday, you worry about guys getting hesitant in any ways?
I think that's our job to make sure that we're letting them. That's one thing I like about these players. They're smart kids. They want, you can talk to them and explain to it. And I don't think so, Jay. But we got to make sure that we're communicating and then we're reinforcing with what we're practicing. I think that's the best way to take the hesitancy out of it, and then you keep reinforcing. That's, you know, we do it every day, so it's just kind of hammering it again and talking through it again and making sure to show it, and I don't think that the guys will be hesitant because of it.
Jeff?
Because it hasn't happened here since they instituted the
Right.
rule, we weren't sure if there's like an appeal process that so Tyndall is, as of now, he was not eligible till the second half. Is that correct?
Right,
This week?
correct. There is not an appeal. The one way that you can appeal it is if the review is not working in the stadium, and therefore, in essence, the review happens game day, and then everything is looked at by Bill, and then they go through it, but there is no appeal process. The only way you'd have an appeal process is if the system in place wasn't working.
Jim?
Paul, what have you crossed paths with Norm Chow, or what kind of background do you guys have together?
Yeah, I've never worked with Norm, coached against him, and he is very good friends with one of my real good friends, and a couple times I thought I might be working with him, but he's really well respected in our profession, and he's been a really good coach for a long time and a really good person, so have a lot of admiration for Norm.
Paul, you said during fall camp you weren't exactly sure what you were getting out of Chryst when you came in. How did he grade out on Saturday, and what did you like what he gave you?
I think Chris, what I've liked is his continues to work to get better. He loves the game, and I think one of his strengths is his instincts, and there's certainly areas that he can improve upon, and really every game, he's done some good things. He just played a little bit in the Alabama, played more against Miami, and certainly got a lot more snaps, and I think that allowed him to get into the rhythm of the game, but he's got really good instincts. I thought he's doing a better job of kind of attacking early, and it's not atypical, but was trying and not being, he doesn't want to be wrong. I think it took away some aggression. I think he was trusting what he was seeing and playing a little bit more downhill. So Chris he's young, and I think, same thing can be said with TJ. TJ's got really good instincts, and I like the way they're working, but they can still get a lot better, and that's encouraging.
Paul, both you and Joel after the game said that the third down conversion rate obviously wasn't what you wanted it to be. When you reviewed the plays, what were some things that could have been done better in certain instances to convert? I know a couple guys were caught passes, but were stopped short of the sticks, for example.
Yeah, really what got us in trouble, I think we had 5 third and mediums, and that's where we weren't very good. The first one was we didn't really get a chance on the snap, the shotgun snap, and then we had one that got tipped. Joel thought he'd get it up and over him. Then we had the one with Foom where we caught it, but we were underneath it. We had another one where it gave us a chance to go for it on 4th down. So you look at all those. I think it's that's one of the. I think we had 50-some plays, 54 plays on offense, and everyone wants to get into a rhythm, and one of the ways to get in rhythm is staying on the field. And if you don't convert on 3rd down, that's hard to do. So I think there's certainly areas that we got to get better at, and it's and everyone can own it. From play design to play execution, everywhere in between.
Paul, when you
Over here, sorry. To your right. When you
Gotcha.
when you first met with Austin Traylor this offseason, did you suggest to him that he should try and catch 100 passes a game, and in what ways have you seen him develop from spring until now?
Actually, Rudy's the first one I think that brought that up, and it was something that I know he did with Lance Kendricks and Austin. He is, this team means a ton to him, and he's like a lot of the guys, and he wanted to do whatever he could to be the best, and for a number of years, and Coach Alvarez used to talk about this, if we're going to have a good team, our seniors need to have their best year. And when you say that to a guy like Austin, he listens. It means something to him. And so he did it. And he did more than that. But that was an example of where he's going to take it literally and do everything he can to give himself a chance to be the best he can. And then there's other guys on this team like that, and that's why it's a fun group to coach.
Eric.
Whether you watch the game broadcast or you listen to analysts or whoever, you seem to have a reputation for being really good at getting the most out of your quarterbacks over the course of your career. Why do you think that is?
I think I've been lucky to be with some really good quarterbacks and guys that work at being the best they can. And I think that's why if that's said, I think it's because I've been around some really good ones.
Jason.
Paul, you guys have had a couple long touchdown drives in halves the last two games. Can you talk about what goes into having the success in the 2-minute drill, and how much do you guys work on that during the week?
We work on it every week, and we also work on third medium every week. What made it successful is guys making plays, and I think it's guys. I think anytime you want your players to be prepared for as many situations that come up, and I think that's one thing that fits Joel's personality. He's not a guy that gets rattled, but you got to make plays. One thing I was proud of is that we overcame. We had a setback. I think it was a 1st and 25, and that's just, that's something to build on. Is that when something doesn't go your way, you just keep playing, you keep going, and I think that was the best part of that drive. But the guys got to, it's guys making plays if it goes well.
Every coach that's been here has had their own style for running out with the team before the game, whether it's leading the charge or being the last guy out. Your route seems to be a little different. What has been your philosophy with wanting to run out with a team or go back, where you've seen to kind of take the long route around and hide?
I'm still getting used to this old. But you know what I really believe is that game day, the thing I love about game day is that the players are the ones between the lines. And the game's a great game. And love the game and love being around players and coaches that love and appreciate the game. And I just think that day is about them. Now, I've always felt this as a coach, that you can still have an important role on game day. It's not like you're trying to check out. But it's, they've got a small window of time where they're playing this game, and we're lucky to be able to do it here, and coming onto the field at Camp Randall, the best thing about our team is our players, and I've always believed that, and it's true here. We had some great young men, kids that are playing and represent this university, and I like it when they lead the team onto the field, and I want to be with them, and I want to help them and do everything I can. But it's the game's about them. So I guess that's why I'm not the first one, and I kind of want to get out there, but I don't want to. It's about them.
I guess a little late though. You were presented with a game ball for your first victory by your team. What did that mean to you to get that from them?
Anytime you get anything from your team, it means the most. And yet you know that it's symbolic more than anything, because I really didn't do much. I mean, they're the ones that tackled. They made plays. They played. Coming from, Mike presented it on behalf of the team means a ton, and and they all know, and it was all of us, and that's why I think anytime you get something from your players, as a coach, to me, that's the most meaningful.
Zach in the back.
Paul, with Durante's experience at Hawaii the past few years, is there anything that you can gain from him in preparing for them this week?
Well, I think, Durante certainly knows some of their players, and we've got 3 games from this year to watch on them, but he can give you a little bit of an idea of, who they are as players, but I think other than that, it's a whole new defensive staff, and so I think that, there's nothing like the tape to help you prepare.
Dennis.
The offense has been a work in progress, and you haven't had Corey. How important is it going to be to get him some reps before the Big Ten season?
Well, I think, I'm anxious to see how this week goes. Corey finished up last week doing more, and he felt making progress. And so I think it's whenever he's ready. It's not about for the Big Ten season. It's, I'm anxious just to, and he's anxious. He's more anxious probably than anyone, that he wants to play and wants to help this team. And so we'll see how this week goes with him. But he was certainly encouraged, and guys were encouraged seeing him doing that. And they know when he's feeling better, and they feel good when, their friend, their teammate is making progress. So we'll see how the week goes.
Brian.
Paul, Hawaii hung with Ohio State for 2.5, 3 quarters or so, and you mentioned before physical. How physical is this team from what you've seen?
I think that's one of their strengths. I think they're a team that's loves the physical part of the game, and they've got some guys that I think their schemes play to that, and I think they got some really good football players. And we talked about Norm, and I think their coaching staff's a really good, respected coaching staff. We've had guys that have played against, different guys in our staff have played against different members of their staff, and our guys will watch the tape and they'll see it, and they'll be ready to go, because it's a good team.
Paul, you don't get a ton of night games here. Is that always something that you look forward to and always takes on maybe a little bit more meaning?
It certainly is a different atmosphere. The ones that I've been in, I've been lucky. The night games that I've been in here, it even goes back to as a player. I think I was in one of the first ones, and it was a great atmosphere. But you talk about more meaning. Every game is really meaningful, and I've enjoyed every game day here at Camp Randall. It's different, but I think they're all pretty darn good.
Just to kind of follow up on that, the players said that the night games, though, one of the challenges is sitting around all day and waiting and thinking and trying to relax, and what their process is going through. Is it a good thing, a bad thing, a tough challenge for you guys as coaches when you have the night game?
I think we've already had one this year, and I think that guys have gone through it, and we follow a schedule that I first got when I had a chance to work for Coach Alvarez, and a lot of thought went into it, and you tweak it a little bit. But the main gist of it is that that they're just what they said. Guys look forward to playing the game, and when you have to wait, that's different. And so you do some things to kind of help them through that, and I think we've got a pretty good plan. And you want a team that, no matter what time kickoff is, no matter what the conditions, they're excited to play and they're ready to play. And that's our job, certainly this week, to make sure that. But I think that's one of the things I like about this group. And that's what helps having, leadership. And we've got good leadership. And so it's a fact, and you have a plan for it, and you handle it, and time to go is time to go.
Jeff?
Paul, after the game, you said you didn't really focus on Kapoy, obviously, during the game, but you were curious to see how he played. How did he hold up in his most extensive action at guard?
I thought Micah did some really good things, and kind of what I think what Chryst went through, when you can really start to develop a rhythm, and it was good. It was good to get Jacob in. Hayden did some good things. And it's funny, we talk. A lot of times we're talking about the right side. I mean, Michael Dieter's a freshman, and playing, and I thought he did some really good things. And so everyone's got room for growth. But I thought Micah, it was fun to see him play, and I thought that he kind of turned it loose at times, and I think that will only improve with reps. I think there's a lot to be said about preparing. We talk and put a lot of stock into preparing for a game. And I think once you go through it, now you as a player can do a better job of preparing. You know what it is you did well that helped. You know where you can do a better job. And so that's where there should be a good sizable improvement with all the guys, because they're starting to figure it out. And that's good.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.